Being introverted and handling small anxiety situations. Have you ever stood in line at a restaurant already knowing what you wanted, and then somehow forgotten how to act when it was finally your turn? Or maybe you needed to call a doctor, ask a simple question, or speak to somebody at a front desk, and your whole body acted like you were about to give a speech in front of 1,000 people. If that's you, I want to say something right away. You're not ridiculous, you're not dramatic, and you're definitely not the only person who feels this way. For some introverted people, small situations don't feel small at all. They feel loaded, they feel exposing, they feel like there's a spotlight on you, even when nobody else is even paying attention. Today, we're going to talk about that. Why little moments can feel so big, why it doesn't mean something is wrong with you, and most importantly, how to make those moments easier. Not by pretending to become some super outgoing person overnight, but by learning calmer, kinder strategies that actually work. 1. Why small situations can feel huge. This is something a lot of people don't understand unless they feel it themselves. They think it's just ordering food. It's just calling a doctor. It's just asking where something is. It's just making a quick appointment. For an introverted person or a person who already feels socially tense, those moments can feel much bigger inside than they look from the outside. That's because your mind is not only reacting to the task, it's reacting to being watched, to being misunderstood, to getting it wrong, to sounding awkward, to freezing, to feeling exposed. And once the body feels exposed, even simple things can suddenly feel hard. So the first thing I want you to know is this: your reaction may be bigger than the situation, but that doesn't make it fake. It just means your nervous system is treating the moment like it matters a lot. And if your nervous system thinks something matters a lot, your body will respond. Your heart speeds up, your thoughts get messy, your mouth gets dry. You start rehearsing and then over-rehearsing. And then the thing that looked tiny from far away starts to feel huge up close. That happens to a lot of people too. You don't need to shame yourself for being sensitive. This is important because many introverted people are already hard on themselves. They say things like, "Why am I like this? This should be easy. Normal people do this every day. I'm making too big a deal out of nothing." That kind of self-talk makes the whole problem worse because now you're not only anxious, now you're anxious and ashamed. That's a much heavier feeling. So let's take a kinder approach. Instead of saying, "This shouldn't bother me," I'm gonna try saying, "This bothers me right now. Let me help myself through it." That's a totally different energy. It's not weak, it's mature, it's honest, and it gives you a way forward. A lot of growth begins when we stop insulting ourselves for having human reactions. You can't calm yourself down very well while also attacking yourself. So the first strategy is simple: drop the insult. Keep the problem if you need to, but drop the insult. 3, calm the body before you try to be confident. This may be the most useful part of the whole video. When a situation makes you nervous, don't start by trying to act cool. Start by calming your body, because confidence is much easier when your body is not already panicking. Try this before the moment. Unclench your jaw, drop your shoulders, breathe out slowly longer than you breathe in. Put both feet on the ground, relax your hands. That sounds small, but it helps. It tells your body, we're not in danger. We're just doing something uncomfortable. That's a big difference. You don't need your body to feel amazing. You just need it to stop acting like the sky is falling. If you can bring the intensity down even 20%, everything gets easier. So before you order, before you call, before you ask the question, before you walk to the desk, pause for a moment. Breathe once, soften your body, then move, not when you feel perfect, when you feel slightly steadier. That's enough. 4, use tiny scripts so you don't have to invent words under pressure. One reason these situations feel hard is that your mind thinks it has to perform live. It thinks, I need to know exactly what to say right now with no awkwardness. That's a lot of pressure, so take pressure off the moment. Use tiny scripts, not giant speeches, just as simple starting lines like, hi, I would like to make an appointment. Hi, I have a quick question. Can I order the... Sorry, could you repeat that? I'm not sure what to choose. What do people usually get? I get nervous with phone calls, so thank you for your patience. That last one is powerful, by the way. You would be amazed how much easier life gets when you stop trying to sound perfect and just sound honest. Small scripts help because they get you over the first hump, and usually the first few seconds are the hardest part. Once the conversation begins, your brain often settles down, so don't aim to know the whole conversation. Just know your opening line. That's enough to begin. 5. Make everyday hard moments smaller before you do them. This is another trick that works really well. Break the moment into smaller parts. For example, if calling the doctor feels overwhelming, don't think, I need to handle this whole thing. Think, first, I am just going to find the number. Then, now I am just going to write down what I need. Then, now I am just going to press call. Then, now I am just going to say the first sentence. That's very different from trying to swallow the whole experience at once. The same thing works in restaurants. Look at the menu first if you can. Decide early. Pick a backup choice. Practice the sentence once in your head. Now the moment is smaller. You're not improvising from nothing. You're stepping into something you already touched mentally. This is not cheating. It's preparation. And preparation is one of the most underrated tools anxious introverts have. 6. Let yourself be a little awkward and keep going anyway. This one matters a lot because sometimes the goal becomes, I want to get through this without being awkward at all. But that goal can make things worse because now one weird word, one pause, one stumble, one tiny moment of confusion feels like a disaster. Instead, try this goal. I am allowed to be a little awkward and still do the thing. That's freedom. That's growth. Because honestly, plenty of confident looking people are awkward all the time. They just don't treat every awkward moment like a moral failure. They keep going. You can do that too. If your voice shakes a little, okay. If you need somebody to repeat themselves, okay. If you stumble over a word, okay. The point is not to become perfectly smooth. The point is to keep moving even when the moment is imperfect. That's how real confidence grows. Not from never feeling awkward, from surviving awkwardness and realizing you're still okay. 7, practice on low stakes situations first. If you want to get better at this, don't begin with the hardest possible thing. Don't start by saying, tomorrow I will become a fearless social machine. That usually doesn't work. Instead, practice on small, low-stakes moments. For example, ask one employee where something is, order one thing, clearly make one short phone call. Ask one question at the counter, return one item. Ask someone to repeat themselves instead of pretending you heard them. These small reps matter because each time you do one, your body learns, I can survive this, and that lesson adds up. Tiny courage counts, quiet courage counts. Repeated courage changes people. So don't underestimate the power of little wins. Little wins often build the life that bigger confidence later stands on. 8, recovery matters too. If you're introverted and you push through a stressful social moment, don't act like recovery is optional. Recovery matters. You may need a walk, quiet music, journaling, a little time alone, less stimulation for the next hour. That doesn't mean you failed. It means you spent energy. And if you spent energy, it makes sense to refill it. People are often nicer to their phones than they're to themselves. They understand charging a device. But when they need to recharge, they call themselves weak. No, like you're a person. People need recovery, especially thoughtful people, especially sensitive people, especially people whose minds stay busy. So if you got through something hard today, don't only say, oh, why was that so difficult? Also say, good for me. I did something hard. Now let me come back to center. That's a healthier cycle. 9, you can build a life that fits you better. I want to end with something hopeful. Yes, some people will always be more naturally easygoing in public. Yes, some people will always like more stimulation than you. That's fine. You don't need to become them. What you need is a life that fits you better. A life with more preparation, more clarity, calmer routines, less self-judgment, more honest communication, more one-on-one connection, more room to breathe. You may still have stressful moments, but they'll stop owning you. They'll stop feeling like proof that something is wrong with you, and they'll start feeling like what they really are, small, hard moments that you know how to move through. That's a beautiful kind of progress. Closing. So if everyday situations feel bigger to you than they seem to other people, please hear me. You're not silly. You're not weak. You're not broken. You may simply be sensitive, thoughtful, introverted, and a little overstretched by the speed of the world. That's not the end of the story. Calm the body, use tiny scripts, break moments into smaller pieces. Let yourself be imperfect, practice on low-stakes situations, recover with kindness, and keep building a life that fits who you really are. That's how small anxiety situations stop ruling your day. If this helped, subscribe and send it to the quiet person in your life who needs a softer, smarter way forward.